Alright, let's see if it records this time. Alright, so I already got the bushing and the pump seal in. The outer gear has a bevel to it. You want to make sure that bevel is facing down. The inner gear does not matter which way it goes, although do try to put it back the way it was. I always mark mine so I know, but you can even look inside and see where the hub was riding on the gear. And get my O-ring for the pump. We can even lube up these gears a little bit if we want to. Some people get upset that I don't lube them. The only one I've really found a need to do that on is the 5R110. The rest of them seem to be okay. Put the side down that goes down. This little notch right here is going to go right there. Lube up our O-ring on the outside. And a little spot right there goes right there. It's 13 millimeters. There we go. Wasn't quite all the way down. Lube up where our piston goes. Got our lip seals. The lips are going to face out towards us again. This little pin will sit in that hole right there. Got our return springs. And looks like I'm one short, and the retainer's gonna sit, the springs are gonna sit just on there like that. And let me go see if I can find my, yeah, it was hiding on me over there. Alright, we got our little wire retainer. Always wise to put the short end of the taper up towards you. It really doesn't matter on this, because you can get two scribes in there and spread it out, but it's always good to stay in the habit so you do it on every single one. You actually don't need a foot press for this one. You could probably do it by hand. Just make sure it's all the way in the groove. And then we got our gasket. Get that shape right there. This shape right there. Alright, our sealing rings. They are scarf cut. They go together just like so. If need be, you can put some grease in there to hold them in the groove if you want to. Keep your old ones just in case you cut one. We have our erase that goes on top. This recessed end goes down. Got our planetary here. We don't need to take the rest of this apart. Put this over here. We have a sealing ring that goes on here. this one is butt cut, so it goes together just like so. Here again, you can put grease in the groove if you want to keep it in, and this one we probably will, or at least I will. We got our bearing on the front. We got our caged bearing goes in. Flat bearing goes on the front. Alright, so we got the bearing on there. The planet's only going to line up in these notches. Down inside this planet here, or the sprag assembly, I'm sorry. You got O-rings that go down in here. And you just got to find the right one for the right one. It's a little thin. This one's a little big. I don't know. I don't like the ones they gave me in the kit. Yeah, that one's the closest one in thickness, so I think we'll go with that one. And we got our little shim here that goes on top of the sprag. We have a little dimple in the back here. It goes in that hole right there. There we go. And we got a fat O-ring that goes back here on this one. We got this 3-tab washer. And this little plate does have a tendency to keep falling out. You may have to put some grease up in there to hold it in place. Alright, a lot of these have a little wavy, thin thrust washer that goes underneath here. This one didn't have it. Now, I don't know if they just didn't put it in, or if it never had it. This little plate right here can be a pain. Ah, dang it. Just not wanting to stay. Here's my snap ring. And if it's not all the way down, you're not going to be able to get the snap ring in. And it's tight to go in the first place. So this one probably did not have the shim, because it's very tight. Alright, we're all the way in the groove. Everything is turning. And you got the bearing on the front here. Now some of these you can't get that bearing in. You're going to have to put it in before you put all that planetary system together. But this one was easy enough to fit in there. There's plenty of room. Alright, let's see. What else can we do? O-ring goes down inside the output shaft flange. Alright. Got O-rings on this band strut piece. Usually these are hard as a rock. You usually have to break them to get them off. popped out of there finally. Looks like the hold down still in good shape, so we're going to try to salvage. They do give us new ones in the kit. I'll keep that for when I get a kit that I don't get those in, and I got one that's broken. If they're not broken, I don't change them. It's too big. Let's try that one right there. Alright, that looks good. Pop that back in there. And put the lip seal on our servo. There's different styles of these servos. There's a self-adjusting one, and I think the other video I did, the 722.370, had that one on it, if I remember correctly. Lip's gonna face up towards you. You got 2 springs. They say you can leave one of these out. It doesn't make it any easier getting it in. I just stick them both back in. I think they say it's supposed to cure something, 2-3 flare, some kind of flare if I remember correctly. Okay, I think we're about ready to do all the O-rings in the case and then stuff this in the case. I'm going to change batteries and we'll be back. Alright, we're going to do our rear pump here before we go messing with the case. There's no ring down inside of here. And it's very easy to cut this thing when you're putting this all back together. So you're going to have to be very careful here. So the second groove down is where this goes. That's the wrong size. Alright, and we got 2 sealing rings here and they're butt cut. And you're going to definitely want to put some grease on here because they're very hard to get back up into there. So they go together just like that. See if we can get this to size down and make it that much easier when we go to put it in, because we're going to be fighting 2 of them. And we may have to put a hose clamp on this and put it in the freezer. Just depends on how difficult it wants to be. We may be going back to the old one. It is wanting to be difficult. And usually they are. They're usually very difficult. Okay, it went in finally. We'll let that sit for just a second. Spin it a little bit, see if we can't get it to resize a little bit. Let me find the inner one. That ain't it. That ain't it. Okay. So it looks like they changed the inner one on me. There's none of these that are butt cut. Alright, let's see if this one will go in there. The inner one seems to be going in. It's this outer one again. There we go. Let's see if we can keep that out that way. We got our spring goes in here. We got this little dude sits on top. Spring goes in that hole. And our cover. Need to lube this up a little bit. Try to go in fairly straight so you don't cut it. Alright, short end of the taper up towards us again. Alright, looking good. We got our inner gear, has a recess to it. That's going to face down. Our inner gear, doesn't matter which direction it goes. And this plate's going to go in first. Then this O-ring's going to sit out here. Then our pump's going to go onto it. And it's going to seal on that bevel right there. And it goes this way. Alright. I think we're ready to bring our case up here. Alright, this is going to be the most critical portion of your build as far as I'm concerned. In here is this sleeve. It goes in the case right here. And this seal for the servo faces with this lip out. So it's going to go on here. You have to really lube the crap out of this thing to keep it from rolling. It's going to face out. The way I get mine out is I take a bushing driver that fits inside of that, and I bring the handle through here and I drive it out. And a lot of times, and this one was no exception, there's a lot of burrs. Kind of the aluminum kind of bonds itself together and it comes off in this flakes, and it's kind of seized together, and it may take you a lot of work to get that freed up, and this one did. It was like 2 hours to get this bore to where that sleeve would go back in there. You don't want to drive it in there. You want to be able to slide that thing in there, and it needs to sit straight, because if it doesn't sit straight and it's cocked off, this servo will never work properly. So you want to get that sleeve to where it goes in nice and easy and flush. Then once you get that, there's two different styles of this. This one's a butt cut. Then they have a solid one. And the solid one has this lip ring. It kind of fits over it, and it's real wide. Fits all the way across here. A lot of times I will not change this one out, because it's easy to get this to where it's not right. If it is pretty snug in the bore, what I'll do is I'll take some very, very, very fine sandpaper or Scotch-Brite, and I'll buff the kind of residue that's on it. I'll buff it off and make it more white. It'll be kind of a blackish, grayish color. And I buff it down till it's pretty white. And then I get it to where it slides in and out of this bore nice and easy. And this one's fitting really good now, and it's sliding really good. This seal you're probably going to be able to push it in by hand, but we're going to lube this thing up really good, inside and out. And this faces up towards us. And we want this all the way down. Alright, looks like it's down. And then make sure our servo is still going nice and easy. Now it's going to be very easy to roll that lip, so you're going to have to be careful here you don't go cutting it or anything. Alright, just want to make sure it's moving nice and good. Alright, we can go on now and do the rest of this. We can go ahead and put this O-ring in if we want to. And up inside of here is that O-ring that we were talking about. Alright, move that up. And lube this up, and this notch has to face straight up at us. This is gonna sit right inside of that right there, just like that. There we go. Alright, our rear band is going to have to go in. We do need to put our sealing rings on first though. The band's going to sit in here just like this. We're going to have to come in from the front. Wide end's going to sit over here. Narrow end's over here. Right down in here is 2 sealing rings. You want to go ahead and put some grease on those sealing ring lands. Kind of hold them up into the place that they need to be. And they are scarf cut, so they go together just like so. Alright, then we got a washer. We got the tab here. There's a line-up hole in there. Alright, the line-up hole is about the, if you're looking down in, it's about the 7 o'clock position. And you're going to take your band, you're going to kind of compress it like so, get it up in there. Alright. I'll hang this tranny off the side just a little bit. I don't want it leaning too far back because the drum will slide off. Planet system in this drum. Go ahead and put the drum on it. I'm trying to do this where the camera is at so you can see. Makes it a little bit more difficult. Solid. I'm going to slide this up inside of here. Hopefully we don't slide off of it. All right. I'm going to change camera angles. We'll be back. Okay, from the factory, right in this area right here, there's a little deal that looks like little fingers. It slides down in that case, and the little fingers sit down in those little grooves down there in the bottom. Doesn't absolutely have to have it, but it does take one. And it takes our pressure plate on the bottom, this side facing down, flat side up. And that's a rattle clip that keeps that from rattling around. We got our reverse clutches that go on here. Almost always these things are worn out, and they'll wear out all the way down to where they rip the springs out of the back of the pump. And you probably will never even notice a slip. And you notice these are all the way down to the metal. Alright, we got our top plate. And we got this ring that sits on top. We got our top drum. And you can put your band in now. You can put it in like I'm fixing to do. Doesn't matter. Actually, no, I need to put it in now. I'll put this end facing over here. Actually, it goes this way. Forgot I got the bottom facing this way. I usually have it facing towards me. Alright, drop our drum in. Make sure it goes all the way down. There we go. Now you're going to have shims on here depending on what your clearance needs to be. Put the thin ones on the bottom. There's a thick one on top. You want the bearing to be able to ride on it. It's the race for this bearing. So then our bearing goes in. We have this guide for the servo. The two little feet go down it towards the valve body side. You'll see where they go. Just line them up. Make sure your band is inside of that. Alright, I'm going to have help to do this. So we got our servo with our two springs on it. And we got our cover. We're going to have to lube this up. And then our snap ring that holds it all in. And I'm going to have to get somebody to put the snap ring in while I push this in, because it is stout. I'll go ahead and lube this up. Get everything ready. Alright, let me go get some help. Now I'll push it in with the back end of a hammer.
Oh yeah, this is round. So now you got it.
That's it. Alright, thank you, sir.
You bet, man.
Okay, now we got that in. We can go ahead and put our strut in over here and lube these O-rings up. This little piece has to fit in the slot that's in the case. Make sure that goes into our band. We got our plug. You don't need to put anything on it because it won't do any good for you putting anything on there anyway. That's not what seals it. Those O-rings is what seals it up. Alright, 12 millimeter on that. Alright, our band is all lined up now. We'll line up the ports on our pump. This right here goes right there. Make sure our gasket stays up there. .13 millimeters on our pump. We're not going to be able to check our end play until we put our tail housing on and gets everything pushed up where it's supposed to be. We do want to make sure it turns once we tighten this pump down though. Alright, we're just going to do an initial tighten down. Alright, let me change camera angles back. Alright, I don't normally pull this stuff out. But I pulled it out so you can see what it looks like. You got this lube dam that goes in right here. We got this piece right here, goes in with this side up, goes in right here, and then this little dude right here goes in with this side down and the tube facing back that direction. And like I say, I usually just leave that in there. We have this little thing right here, it sits right here. The servo. Slide this in and we put our linkage on. And we got a 5mm bolt that holds that in. Somebody rounded the crap out of that before. I had a hard time getting my socket in it to take it out. Alright, before we go putting the valve body on, we put the back end together and make sure our end play comes out right. Usually does, but since somebody's been in here and everything else was wrong, we're going to make sure. Short end of the taper out towards us, the snap ring goes on the groove on the output shaft. This gear goes on and that snap ring fits up in the back of the gear there. Now there's different shims back here, and usually there's two here and then two on the other side. He had all four sitting back here, and that's usually not right. Part gear goes in just like so. These two usually go back here. Yeah, let me see what we've got here. Alright, I think these three go up here. This one stays back here. I don't know how he had it up there before, or I guess it could have been a she. I ain't never seen a female builder, but I'm sure there probably are some. Alright, we got our park actuator. And put that back. Actually, this needs to go down first for the governor, or we're not going to be able to get it in there. Alright, get that down there. Alright, this little dude goes on here, and our guide goes on. Just like so. Make sure our valve is moving free inside of our governor, and it is. I'm going to go ahead and shoot some miracle oil on it. That little deal inside there's got a loop onto here, and that's what holds our governor in place. Put our plate on. Just like so. Our O-ring inside of that. And our pump. This shaft goes through that hole right there. Put some grease on here and keep that up in there. Usually doing this on its side, so I don't have to worry about that stuff falling out. Back this governor out a little bit. And 5mm bolts. Put our governor up inside of there. Make sure we're up inside that pump. Alright, 10mm nut holds this on. Alright, make sure that it still turns. Alright, we're turning good. Gonna put our gasket on, our tail housing, our flange, before our flange we're gonna put our shim in. It's gonna go there, and once I get that all bolted down, then we'll be back. We'll check our end play. This new GoPro is eating batteries like mad. Seems like even worse than the other one. All right, pick up your proper tail housing gaskets. There's a couple different ones. Come on, go down. I had you down a second ago when I wasn't going to show it. I decided to show it, and now it wants to be a pain. All right, the 3 long ones go down here in the bottom. The rest of these are all the same. And you're going to need a shallow wall socket to hold it in there, or get it in there. A couple of these are real narrow. shim in. Rear seal. What did I do with it? Flange. And once we make sure everything is right, we'll take the nut back off and put some Loctite on it. Come on. Why are you coming up so tight? You went on. You came off really easy. Inch and 3/16 on the nut. I think we're perfect. Yeah, we're perfect. Okay, your battery's about to die. I'm going to take the nut back off and put some Loctite on it. And put the O-ring in here, put this cover on it. It's just got a snap ring that holds it in. Here's our O-ring, and yes, actually, if I don't run out of battery, I'll just go ahead and do this now. I don't know, it's looking like it was about to run out, so it may beep on me any second. Alright, the little wire clip goes up in there. Alright, when I come back, we'll do the plate for the valve body here. And we'll get the valve body on this, and we should be pretty close to being done. Alright, then we got this little metal disc, goes in the bottom. We got this check valve, goes with this end up. We have a screen, open end to up, and another one here. I'm making sure I took a picture of that. I've been forgetting to do that. Got a gasket. Didn't come with one from the factory, but you can stick this on there. This plate goes on top. Let's see. This plate goes on here. Got these flathead bolts that hold this all together. Make sure our gasket is centered when we tighten this. Pick the gasket that fits your plate, the one that doesn't block the holes, so make sure you got that all matched up. We got this tube that slides in right here. Now we'll put our throttle cable on. New O-ring. If these deals that hold it into the case are broken, just go ahead and silicone it with a good grade silicone, and that'll hold it in the case. Alright. Now, we got this little pin, goes in the case right there, and our tube is going to go in that hole right there. Make sure that this is back up out of the way, and make sure you don't roll your gasket. Got these 10 millimeters that hold this down. We're going to leave all this loose. And we got our detent here. How good this is going to show up. On the wrong side here, really. Make sure your pin goes in that last hole. Our stiffener. This little short tin holds that in. And our manual valve of our valve body's got to go on here. The 3 gold bolts go down here. The rest of the bolts go everywhere else. Make sure your throttle valve is behind this. I don't know if I mentioned it or not. Make sure that that check valve is in there, and that is in there. Some of these have a little check valve that go over here also. Alright, we're going to start in a cross pattern. Let's start in the center, work our way out here, and then we'll do the rest. I should have got a chrome socket. Some of these are a little tight to get into also. Make sure our throttle valve is working properly. Make sure our linkage is moving. Alright. Got our filter, 3 Allen heads. Our pan gasket on. We've got these little hooks that somewhat kind of hold the pan gasket on. Usually these things are bent way out of shape. Everybody loves to over tighten these. Alright, got 13 millimeters with these washers on them. I start in the center, work my way out. All right. See if we can get a view of this. Do the modulator first and the valve. That way the view doesn't get blocked. This is the valve. Hollow end up. Make sure you got a new O-ring on your modulator. There's two different styles. There's this stem. It takes this style on the back of the modulator. I'll see if I got it the other style. I think I do. And our bracket sits on there, and actually it just goes this way. Doesn't matter. Lube up your O-ring so it goes in easier. Try not to cock this thing because it'll snap that right off of there. Same thing when you go to pull it off. Try not to wiggle it too much. It will snap that thing right off. I think that's why they went to the other style. And of course it's wanting to be stiff. Make sure that your cap is in good shape. They used to sell just the caps. I don't know if they still do or not. Probably do. Oh, I gotta take that valve body back off. Forgot to put that clip in that I got. I knew I would. I got a clip from a place called Jaggies. They're in Missouri City, Texas. And they had that clip. I actually got one in the rebuild kit too, which I was real surprised about. But I called up Jaggies to see if he had it before I even got my kit, because I didn't want him to have to be waiting on it. And he said, yeah, I got it. And he asked me what the ink stamp was on my valve body. This is an early model unit, but it's got a later model valve body on it, which is no big deal. And he told me some of those valve bodies do not have that clip in there. So you can put it in, it's not going to hurt it either way. And he asked me what my address was. I gave it to him. And he said, okay, it's on its way. And I said, well, how much do I owe you? And he said, no, I'll send it to you. So that was pretty cool, I thought. So shout out to him, and I'll put the website on the page, and give him some business. He deserves it. Alright, the neutral switch goes on. I'm just going to bolt it back down where it was. It should be fine because it was working just fine before where it was, so it should be okay there. Should have just put that clip in when I was thinking about it and showed you where it was instead of me putting it in. I guess now you get to see me put it in. Alright, line your neutral switch up inside your linkage there. Alright, let me get the valve body back off of here, and then we'll put the clip in, and then we'll put our kick down solenoid in. So we'll be back. Alright, you got 3 O-rings on here, and I'm going to go up inside of here. You can electrically check this if you want to. And just stick it up inside of here. Ground this, shoot power to the pin there, put this in there, and you can see the valve move. So put this all together. Alright. There we go. Make sure it's all the way through. Get the new washer that goes on here. Stick it around there. This end is going to go up in the corner here. $19mm or 3/4. Do be careful that when you're threading it in, that you go straight, don't cross thread it. Alright, snug is all you need. And then the last thing we got is this right here. We got this clip, and it goes in this slot right here. They say you can take a piece of fishing line and loop it through there and pull that off, and it won't break it. I don't know about that. They get pretty brittle. But anyway, that's where it goes. And we're done with this unit. I don't think there's anything else that we need to talk about. So we'll see you on the next one. Alright, here's your other style modulator. Here's the back end of it. Here's what your valve stem looks like. It's sit in there just like so. Still got your vacuum line on it. Here's your adjuster for the modulator, and then here's the cap that goes on there. And this thing only lines up one way, and you're going to have to take this off every time that you want to adjust the modulator, and it's a pain. But where's the line up for it? Alright, this goes in just like so. Got the adjustment's going to have to line up in the little notches there. The notch right there is going to have to line up with that, and then that tab goes right there. So that's how that modulator works. The other one is, in my opinion, is much easier to deal with it and make adjustments, because you just pop the rubber cap off and reach up in there and spin that thing. This one's a little bit more difficult. Alright, I guess that for sure is it this time. See you on the next one.